No, I suppose invest in the creation of another one of my videos, and this one, the topic that I chose for it is bullying. Just sort of think of things like what topic do I want? I usually think of some sort of societal aspect, and today it's bullying. Sorry, I have to clear my throat. I have issues sometimes with clearing my throat. I have to do it a lot. Okay, now I suppose I can start. I would like to preface this video of mine with the following. This video includes and is built around a script which I have written. Hopefully the inclusion of a script will bring about an end to all the wandering that I do when I make these videos. The term wandering pertains to how many of my videos seem to just be incoherent rambling as I attempt to grasp an idea which I can elaborate upon. With the incorporation of a script, I now have a general baseline to relay my ideas in a more suitable manner. I'm fine with getting any feedback from these videos and will respond accordingly to questions or concerns that I am addressed. Sorry. Bullying is a concept which I've always thought about during my lifespan. The human nature to ridicule and persecute in a variety of manners those who do not conform to a cultural practice or in some form of opposition to an idea, person, or concept. The manner in which those who persecute are referred to as bullies from here on often employ mental and physical attacks against the non-conforming individual, referred here on as victims. Bullying, in the traditional sense, most often occurs in the school system. The bullies that are present throughout the school system are usually found in the student body. However, teachers and staff can also bully and often do. The victims of bullying commonly exhibit the following traits which leads to them becoming targets. Appearance which is labeled as ugly, odd mannerisms, underdeveloped social skills, odd ideation, inability to sync with the culture of one's environment, and, sorry I didn't put the and, sometimes I mess up my grammar and I don't like it when that happens, etc. And I guess to add to this, I would be the one that goes under underdeveloped social skills, and probably odd ideation, inability to sync with one's environment, so I'd be like the last three, maybe. Bullying is not only limited to schools, it is present in every aspect of human society. If you do not conform, your human experience will be dreadful if you lack the ability or will to conform to the cultural presets of your environment. Victims will spend the entirety of their schooling in isolation, only to be thrown into a further isolating workplace. The bullying of the workplace generally differs from the bullying which occurs in school. Bullying that occurs in schools is much more direct and has a greater chance of becoming physical. The bullying which occurs in the workplace is very often psychological and more subtle. The chances of ever gaining a raise seem to dwindle. Co-workers will interact less with those seen as undesirable by the culture of the workplace. The chances of getting fired and replaced will grow exponentially with time, especially if one makes no attempts to conform with the culture present in the workplace. The family is not exempt from bullying. In fact, it is often where a child will first experience bullying. Most commonly, it is done in a subtle way, gradually pushing ideas onto the child so that it will develop in a way favorable to the family, discouraging any alterations in the child's development that would be seen as unfavorable to the family. I apologize. I really apologize. As the child matures, the bullying which the family inflicts upon the child becomes less subtle. In some cases, the family will outright insult the child and or inflict physical harm. This bullying is done most often to uphold a tradition of sorts, which the members wish to uphold, berating children if necessary. This is the form of bullying which I have experienced the most myself, always as the victim, and never the perpetrator of the bullying. It is common for my grandparents, who are the main provider for my family, to subtly berate me for my actions, When I was younger, the manner in which they do this was more severe. In one instance, I was forced to eat food which disgusted me, and it brought me great discomfort. When I complained and cried about the quality of the food that I was being provided, my grandparents proceeded to give me some sort of punishment. I do not remember the punishment that I was given, but I was likely grounded. Along with that punishment, my grandfather brought me into the closet of my grandparents' shared room. He then proceeded to physically reprimand me using a belt, perpetuating my crying and misery. I believe I was around the age of 6 when this incident occurred. My grandparents had also removed my access to my devices whenever I did something that they did not approve of, instead of simply explaining to me why what I did was wrong. In many cases, the things that I have been punished for weren't even bad. They would even punish me for things which I have never done. The most egregious case of this is when my grandparents accused me of making my grandmother's mother fall in her shower by sabotaging her chair for a prank. This is something which I've never done. At the time of my accusation, I was either 9 or 10 years old. I was left grounded for the remainder of summer break, for something which I have never done. They subconsciously and consciously believed that I was bad enough to prank my grandmother in a potentially lethal manner. If she had died in that fall, they would likely still have accused me, and possibly would attempt to frame me while speaking to the authorities regarding her death. The only supposed evidence that they had to go off of was when I told them about a weird dream I had that had the chair as a focal point. Now I believe that this dream may have been some sort of warning that my grandparents were going to fuck me over. My grandmother has often refused to believe me whenever I'm accused of anything, and has thought of me as a perpetual liar since I was 5. Even with my maturation, she will still not believe me whenever I am accused of things. Her parenting style has become a massive motivator in my desire to shut myself off from society and never speak unless spoken to avoid getting in trouble, which has worked. However, I now do not feel that much like a human at all. Her bullying has left me as an alien. I will choose to remain as an alien. It is what she deserves for trying to bully me. My family also seems most incapable of even trying to understand my autism. My grandfather is not innocent in this regard as well. He has also bullied me in the past. However, his bullying so often comes from proxies. I apologize once again, such as my grandmother or his mother. He wishes to instill the value of knowledge in me, which I have developed, but not because of his practices. For many years I struggled at mathematics. This was something that my grandfather hated and would scold me for. Right before 8th grade, my grandfather's mother arrived from Iran. She has a background in education for over 30 years. She would tutor me for free for a time span of 2.5 years from 8th to 9th grade, as well as preparation in the summer for 10th grade. She would constantly yell at me if I did anything which she perceived as wrong. It was common for me to get the answers perfectly right. However, she misinterpreted them, leading to her yelling at me and berating me until either I did it her way, getting it wrong in the process, or convincing her that I'm right. Either way, the experience was hellish. She would not only yell at me and berate me, she would cut me with her nails, and she bit me as well. Both sensations were quite painful to me. Occasionally I would yell back and have meltdowns. In one instance I repeatedly stabbed my arm with a sharp pencil in front of her, to feel something other than murderous rage. Often I had the desire to kill and or inflict pain on her, which I always had to hold myself back from whenever she was tutoring me. At the end of the tutoring session, I sometimes cried to my father or grandmother. My father wasn't able to do anything about it, and my grandmother didn't really care. Believe me, my grandfather, he just didn't care either, really. Nor did he believe me. Though eventually he did lower it, so instead of every day, I thought with me only having the weekends free from her, I'd have Monday. I'd have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday off from her. And that was only, I think, when I was having that summer for 10th grade and on the latter half of 9th grade. So, for most of it was just still hell. I apologize. The actions of my great-grandmother frequently led to me having suicidal and homicidal ideation throughout the time span she was tutoring me. I wished for her to die so that she'd stop tutoring me. In the past, she tutored my father and also tortured him. My grandmother essentially have him on a leash, so he can't really do much in protest to their actions. I most often thought about getting the shotgun upstairs and killing myself with it. Throughout the duration I was tutored. It would express it all for them, the way I feel about the bullying. In school, I was never even really bullied in any traditional sense. I was often teased in 2nd grade through 5th grade, but after that everything just ceased as I settled into silence. A silence that was brought upon by the actions of my teachers and family. My main bully at school was not a student, no, she was a 3rd grade teacher. She would often yell at me when I expressed myself. I came to the conclusion that since I expressed myself with my peers, without their influence I would not have this desire. This led me to a path of complete and utter isolation. I liked this isolation, and I still do. I let it mold me into who I am today. Now I am developing the skills that my grandparents wanted me to have when I was younger, but I cannot really apply them all into society because of my social deficits. This is their punishment, not mine. And that's all that I wrote for the script. So now I may just end the video, I'm not sure, I haven't checked how long this has been recording. 11 minutes, okay, so that's nice. And I wanted to expand upon this even more, getting more into what happened at school and religion, things like that. So I guess now I don't really have a script to go off of, but I'll try and talk about what happened at school regarding bullying. And yes, I was only really teased, and 4th, 5th grade, that was when it really started becoming a thing. And so what happened was one child, I really didn't like hearing my name, and this kid would keep on calling my name, and it upset me so greatly I really wanted to kill him. And then another kid, I know he was black, that was about his only real distinguishing feature. I even still remember his name. I think his name is Brock. I know that for sure. And the kid that said my name, I believe his name was Benjamin. But, yeah. So, what Brock would do, he would look at me. He'd just stare at me wide-eyed in class from across the room, and it messed with me, it fucked with me psychologically. So I also wanted to kill him as well. And keep in mind, this is 4th or 5th grade, so that's kind of odd for me to have such thoughts, I guess. And another kid named Kaysen, he didn't really mess with me much, but I think sometimes he just kind of annoyed me. Either directly or indirectly, but I think most of the times, like the vast majority, it was indirectly. So those were the only real bullies I got. I know in 3rd grade, I think around the end of 3rd grade, I was accused of eating a ladybug, which I did not. In 2nd grade, one person who I actually wanted to befriend, he said he was my friend. Then, one day in the middle of the year, he just says he didn't want to be my friend, and he pitied me, essentially. He was fake the whole time. And that was the only person I really, really felt close to as a child, and I guess my whole school life. And like that, in an instant, it's all gone. Going into 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th, there's basically been no bullying at all. Essentially none. Some kid did call me a pussy, I think, in middle school. One time when I was leaving. And it was because I had I think it was more so a pun, because I had a backpack and it had cats on it. And another one was when I was walking out from school again in middle school, and some kid basically said, "Wake me up inside!" Like I was emo. My voice is so fucking raspy, I'm sorry. I just really need a glass of water. Fuck, I don't even have any water in my room because I always never have any fucking water in my room. I'm gonna just get some water. Still recording. So I should probably just pause the recording there, but I have water now. And there is a little bit more to the document, and that's just where fuck, I just cramped my right foot. But I'll just read that out now. Sorry, I'm talking louder than usual. Now I suppose that I will end this video. I hope that those that have listened to it will enjoy it. I originally intended this to have a whole section about school and religion, but I think I'll make those their own videos. I will also create a video about dating. Goodbye.